take you through a little bit of what happened at the show and some takeaways. And as you know, this afternoon I'll be closing this particular event, presenting my retail trends for 2010 and taking you on a journey of where I think the consumer is going to be for 2010 and how it's going to impact our business. But a little look first at what happened at the NRF. And this Retail Touchpoints, if you're not familiar with them, they're, again, a really, really great website that kind of keeps the pulse of retailers around the world. And they had a little summary where they talked about what they saw as being really important coming out of the show. I tell you, I was also at a Forrester conference earlier in the fall, and if it was one word that is just being bandied about in retail, it's this whole concept of the mobile connection. That our customers more and more are using their cell phones. And they are using their cell phones for more and more shopping. And you'll see that in my presentation this afternoon. And if you get a chance to look at Runner's World, and again, if you have iPhones, go to the App Store and download the Runner's World app. And that application, I think, has got a lot of potential in this particular industry. Basically, if you're a runner, you log on to the iPhone app from Runner's World magazine. It gives you some things you probably never knew about running shoes. For example, it taught me that in 60 years, I never learned how to tie my shoes right. And really, I've been tying my shoes wrong for 60 years. And it will give you a little 3-minute video on how to tie your shoes properly, which I thought was kind of amazing. But the most interesting thing is you can find shoes, Nike and Asics and just about any brand, and choose a style and then hit enter, and using the GPS it'll find the closest independent retail store selling that product. And you can actually then order it on the phone, and the store will get the order texted to them or emailed to them so they can have the shoe ready and waiting for you when you arrive. And so I think there's just huge opportunities in that. Also, social networking. I'll be talking again about this afternoon. I mean, if you are not on Facebook, if you are not using Twitter, then hello, you better start using it, because our customers are using it big time, and there's some real opportunities there. And that also talks about what we're now calling the omni shopper. And this shopper is really a person who is shopping 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're using whatever medium is available and most comfortable to them at that particular moment. And so we've got to turn on all of those channels if we really want to stay in touch and be relevant to that consumer. And also, again, another trend they saw was what they called upping the ante on upselling. That there is tremendous opportunity to sell better product to customers. And that just because people, it's almost counterintuitive, people are looking for discounts and low prices and all the rest of that stuff, the absolute opposite is also true. That when given and told why a product is worth something, and again, what we've been preaching for years, teaching the difference between price and cost, and that if you spend a little bit more, you're going to get a lot more, and that's a smart investment. And then also prioritize pricing and differentiation strategies. How we've really got to, and where they're showing and demonstrating that successful retailers really are looking at their pricing strategies and not necessarily going just low price, but rather making a heck of a lot more sense out of it.
I think in terms of, as we think about moving forward, we have to look at what's happened over the last year and a half, and it's been a period of remarkable change. If you think about it, at the end of 2007, we went into, we were growing double digit. We were looking at a business that was very vibrant, similar to what Tori's saying, and that all of a sudden, right around the time of the Lehman bankruptcy, everything fell apart. And we went from double-digit growth to double-digit decline. And the cultural shift that had to take place in terms of a fast-moving to how do you make sure you survive through the whole crisis was really a mind shift that everybody had to go through. And you had to go through cost cutting and salary reductions and all of these very difficult things. Now you're in a different mode. Everybody survived it. We've gotten past that. And we're now looking at how do we win in the new environment? And how do you go back onto the offensive, because we were on the defensive for the last year, got through it, but now we're in a very different period. And while it's not good yet, it's much less bad. And you're now looking forward and saying, how do you start bringing back the excitement?
I love that. Well, it's not yet good. it's much less bad. And that was pretty much the tenor of the conference, was that yes, some optimism, but more hope and more belief that if you got through, and it was stunning. If you look at from the end of 2007, even in your businesses, through what you lived through in 2008, 2009, the changes were absolutely cataclysmic. And that challenge, how do you start bringing back the excitement? And then another incredible session from Sir Terry Leahy, who is the CEO of Tesco, who came out with his top 10 management lessons. And again, I'll just cover them off very quickly. And he talked at great length about each and every one of these. But first of all, find the truth. And he said, in an organization, you tend to believe in your gut, and you tend to believe in a whole bunch of people. The reality is that the only person who's got the truth is the customer. And so we need to get and talk directly to that customer. And set audacious goals. And again, we've heard this year over year over year by a lot of different people, but it really is true. Set wildly important goals. Set goals that really mean something and can inspire your people. And that leads us to what he also talked about, having a vision, values, and a culture. And he said that these are far more important than any strategies or tactics or anything else. You've really got to have an amazing, amazing culture today. You've got to have a company that people want to work at. And I'll be talking about that this afternoon too. And then again, follow the customer. You're not going to be able to guess, he said, and those days are over, having a gut level feeling about where the customer is going or what they want. You need to know it. You really need to know where that customer is at. And then he talked also about what he called the concept of the steering wheel. Being able to, when you think about it in a car, you've got that thing called the speedometer, and you've got your gas gauge, and you got your temperature gauges. And as you drive, you're able to make corrections in the way you're driving based on what you're seeing through that steering wheel. Do we have those same kinds of feedback, same kind of information available to us as we drive our business every day? And what is your speedometer? Is it average transaction? Is it units per transaction? Is it conversion rate? What are those daily kinds of measures that are going to make you able to turn just a little bit and makes all the difference in the world? And then again, people, process, and systems. It is really about not just wishing that it's going to happen, but having the people, having the processes, and yes, having the systems, making sure that all three of those are in sync. And people often ask me, Jim, what's the difference between these big companies that you work with and independent companies that I also work with? And I say, the biggest difference is the big guys simply write it down. They have systems that are documented, and then they go back to those and they try to make them better. And that's about the only difference between a lot of independents. And a lot of independents today are even getting that message and starting to create systems and improve upon them. And what he also called lean thinking. Don't make it complex. Don't make it complex. You